Hello, my name is OvaisRShah, and today in my innovation, I'm going to talk about the two-in-one impaired driving ignition lock system. Um, the innovation that I'm going to talk about is a specific type of lock system that I'm suggesting to prevent impaired driving on the roads and to encourage safety on the roads. One of the key things that I want to start my presentation off with is that safety on the roads, it starts with us and it also ends with us. So through the course of the presentation, I'm gonna walk you guys through the problem statement. I'm gonna then after that give you guys the solution to the problem. We're gonna walk through a prototype of the solution of the innovation that I'm suggesting. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about tactics of innovation. So the topic that I'm covering for my presentation is impaired driving. So according to Mad Canada, 1,250 to 1,500 people are killed and 63,000 people are injured each year due to drinking and driving. The numbers are startling. Um, Driver fatalities from 2000 to 2010 are twice as high when drivers are testing positive for cannabis. There was a study that was conducted recently um, and the results of the study were released by the Canadian Public Health Association. So, to start off with the issue, drinking and driving is responsible for a significant amount of deaths in Canada and a significant amount of injuries, and also driving while high or under the influence of cannabis is also responsible for accidents on the roads. Both of these factors contribute to consistent loss of life and injuries to people on the road, and they are um, right now some of the major threats that we have on the road if it's that the police is trying to curtail and control. So, what is my problem statement? Well, my problem statement is that drinking and driving continues to take meaningless lives, it destroys families, and it makes our roads unsafe. Recently, in September 2018, I personally myself lost my sister to a drunk driver in an accident. And that startling reality kind of opened my eyes to the impact of drinking and driving that it has on the streets. Also, as I was going through the personal tragedy of losing my sister, I also kind of tapped into the cannabis laws that Canada is legalizing now, and because of that, we are going to have more and more people that are going to be going out on the streets that are going to be driving while high. We already have people that have been driving while high, according to the Canadian Public Health Association study, but the number obviously is likely to increase according to the Health Association. So, right now, the options that we have available to curb any drinking or driving, or to curb any driving that is done while under the influence of cannabis, are implemented after the fact when the damage is done. The person who is drunk or impaired under the influence of cannabis has already been engaged in an accident. They have either injured themselves, destroyed the car, or they have ended up taking somebody else's life or their life for that matter. So most of the solutions to the problem that we have are reactive. They're not proactive. The traditional IID or the interlock ignition devices which are researched are shameful, obtrusive, and not wieldy to use. So that doesn't work out for us. So my solution is the two-in-one breath analyzer test. This is a test that will screen the legal percentage alcohol level and the drug level of a particular driver, and it's non-intrusive and non-burdensome. It's easy to use, and it's responsive. And also it will integrate with a built-in mobile app that will allow people that are drinking or under the influence of alcohol a socially acceptable exit strategy. Most people do not drink purposely or and drive purposely, right? And most people do not get under the influence for example, cannabis purposely and drive the car purposely. They're put in that situation and they make bad decisions, which have bad implications, right? So usually allowing people a socially acceptable exit strategy is something that we don't offer right now. So this innovation is not only going to prevent the problem at its root cause by preventing the person from operating the vehicle, but at the same time, it also will allow them socially acceptable strategies such as ability to call a friend or ability to call a family member that can help come and help them or give them a ride. Maybe ability to get them a taxi free of charge for which they can pay later on, um, or ability to connect them to a public transit, or even to get help from a cop or a local police car. Most people are more than willing to help people that are drunk or under the influence of cannabis, which is going to be legalized, if they are seeking an exit option to prevent damage to people around them or to themselves. So this is a solution. It's a two-in-one breath analyzer ignition device that will be something that will be fitted in the car. It'll be very subtle, very smooth, and it'll be something anybody else can use. So how will the process work? So the driver operator, for example, will have this particular device installed in the car. It'll usually be installed by the vehicle manufacturer, and it's going to be like any other device, like your GPS that's coming in installed in a car. It's going to be subtle. It's going to be built into your GPS unit, on the dashboard of the car. It's not going to be like the regular IDD that we have, which is like a separate cord that you kind of blow into and it's very visible. So it's going to be very subtle, very discreet in nature, and nobody can tell that it's built into the car. So the driver will basically have two options. They will, before they start the car, they will have to very quickly breathe onto that surface, and it's like basically this surface here. Like I said, it could be a audio visual unit of the car, or it could be a GPS unit. So it's basically unobtrusive, not very discreet. You'll kind of blow into it, and if you have any cannabis or alcohol in your blood, it will take you through the flow. But let's say if you don't have any cannabis or alcohol, it's going to let your car start. But if you do have cannabis and alcohol, it's going to then stop you from starting the car, and it's going to give you three social alternatives. It can either put you in touch with a public transit system, or it can put you in touch with a taxi or a cop, or it can allow you to call a friend or a family member or somebody that can come and give you a ride in the process. So it allows you two options. In this particular case, if everything is good, the car very easily quickly starts up and it takes seconds. If it's not right, then it'll give if you are violating the alcohol and cannabis legal levels, then you can basically get help that you need to get to a safe destination. And again, this is the process how the prototype will work. So why do we need this? The reason why we need this particular innovation is because it is seemingly simple and it's small steps. What does that mean? It's simply a matter of installing this unit onto your device, onto your car dashboard, and it's very easy. You blow into it, it takes a couple of seconds, and then you can start the car up. So and basically it's like any, I would like to say it's like any your anti-brake systems that you would have, or your reverse rear view parking mirror cameras that you have. It's a safety feature. Or the airbags. It's like a safety feature like any other cars, right? So it's seemingly simple and small steps. So I think it's going to make it a good sell. The second reason is it's a clear message compatible fit, right? I mean, drinking and driving and drinking under the influence of cannabis are some of the have very startling statistics, as I mentioned earlier on in the presentation. Thousands of people are affected by it, and it's a reality, right? So it's a very clear message is that we're promoting safe roads for people that are consuming alcohol, and people that are around people that are drunk, right, and that are driving while drunk. So it's a very clear message, and I think it's very important for the current era, because as we are legalizing some particular substances, which will have legal implications, right, on the roads, for example. The third one is compatibility. It's like any other safety feature in the car, like your airbags, or like your reverse rear view cameras, or any of those features that are coming built into the cars, right? And the final one is relative costliness, right? If you go back to the very first slide where I'm talking about that there are 63,000 people injured and 1,250 to 1,500 people that are dying because of drinking and driving, and also the number of fatalities is going to increase as we have more and more cannabis users on the road. So the costliness of implementing something like this is not a lot. Life is cost doesn't have a price against it, right? If you can save the life of the person that is drinking and driving and give them options, and options to basically get to a safe destination, and also at the same time protect people around them, it will be a huge cost reduction in healthcare costs, policing costs, and also cost in general of life, right? So this was my presentation and my intention of presenting it. Thank you so much for listening. And again, remember that safety starts on the roads and it starts with us. Thanks.